Hello everyone, good afternoon. Anadu Vishwanath, hi Anadu, how are you? Just waiting for the others to join quickly so that we can start the session. Anadu, I hope your preparation is going fine. I hope I'm audible to you all. Am I? Good afternoon, Karthik. Good afternoon, Karthik. Hi. Welcome on board. All right, great. So, welcome to yet another live session. This is Pradip Sengupta, your mentor for VARC, and I welcome all of you to yet another session of CMAT 2022. And as you can see, we are going to talk about a little more on sentence improvement and correction. So, I'm just waiting for the others to join quickly. Good afternoon, Elizabeth. Okay. Muskan, good afternoon, Muskan. Good afternoon. So now we have been bringing to you comprehensive sessions on different areas of maths, logical reasoning, English, and we have had quite a few sessions, beautiful sessions on English. And the faculty out here at BYJU'S Exam Prep, they are really working hard to bring you the best of the best so that you can score the best in CMAT. So without any further ado, what are we going to discuss today in CMAT Sentence Improvement and Correction? We have been reiterating on the fact how important grammar is going to be, and if you can get the questions all right, if you can get the questions right, it can be a real game changer for all of us. All right. So sentence improvement and sentence correction. Ariba, hi Ariba, that's a long hi and I'm hiing back to you. I'm hiing back to you. All right. So hi back. So we will try to enjoy the session and this is going to be the agenda for the day. What are we going to discuss? क्या discuss करेंगे? Sentence correction discuss करेंगे. Basics के ऊपर बात करेंगे. How to improve the basics. We'll talk a bit about the fundamentals of grammar. And most importantly, these are some of the nuggets that we must focus on as far as today's session is concerned. We are going to talk about how to check for participle errors in sentence correction. Okay, now we'll talk about participles, we'll talk about kinds of participles, and what are the kinds of errors that we come across in as far as participles are concerned. I'm sorry. Then we'll talk about word forms, we'll talk about helping verbs, modals and auxiliaries, how these small verbs can make a big difference when we talk about sentence correction in CMAT. We'll also talk about some structures, the parallel structures, the concepts of parallel structures, and what are the types of errors we may come across when we talk about parallel structure problems. Then, what is the structure of sentence arrangement? When I say arrangement, I do not mean parajumbles. We talk about sentence arrangement, and we are going to also talk about conditionals, the if sentence and the whether sentence. All right. So this is the agenda for the session today. Aprajita, good afternoon, Aprajita. Welcome to the session. All right. So without any further ado, let us kickstart the proceedings and let me take you to the very first question of the day. So the questions are going to be easy. Let us see how efficiently and quickly we can answer the questions. I will start talking to you 15 seconds from now. So let us not waste any time. I will not be giving you 30 seconds or 40 seconds, 15 seconds and we should be through with each and every question. All right. So what is the question? Let us see. For the following question, answer them individually. This is the question. All right. Most of you have answered C. Priyanka says C. Kajal also says C. Okay. What about the others? So let us see what the question is. Ram told his wife he would not mind standing and eat the dinner. Choose the appropriate option from the underlined phrase. Most of you have answered C, and guess what? C is the answer. And what is the concept? Let us talk about the concept. See, standing over here is a participle. What is a participle? A participle is a word that actually, a verb form. A participle, what is it? A verb form. Alright? A verb form used as an adjective. Alright? Used as an adjective. So when do we use adjectives? We use adjectives to describe something. So when we use a verb to describe something, that becomes a participle. Participles are of two types, my dear. One is past participle, that is the third form of the verb, and the other one is the present participle, that is the ing form of the verb. And the ing form of the verb will always answer the question doing what? This is the catch. It will always answer the question doing what? So over here, Ram told his wife he would not mind doing what? Now ask yourself this question. Standing and what? Eat. Now here comes the problem. If we are using a present participle which ends with ing, after and we need another participle. So it should be standing and eating the dinner. So that is why C should have been the right answer. It was a pretty straightforward question and most of you have got it right. Can we move on to the next question? It was an easy one and this was the concept. Let us look at question number 2. Are we ready for the next question? Here we go. The sentence says, the following sentence is underlined and marked as section A, B, C and D. A, B, C and D. Show which section contains an error. Let us do it in 15 seconds and then we will discuss the question. Okay, most of you have answered. You people have keyed in D to be the answer. What is the question? I read only one book and unluckily found it as bore. Now, as bore is definitely not the right structure and you people are absolutely right. I have a very intelligent team today sitting with me, right? It should be find, okay? Found it as boring. The problem was with this structure and found it, the word should have been boring, right? Find is not the answer, Gaurav. Found and read. We are actually dealing with the past tense, alright? Since we are dealing with the past tense, so the verb forms are fine. The only problem was with this part. Found it how? We found it boring. So, we had a problem with the structure. Okay? So, what are we dealing with? We are dealing with verb forms. Now, these structures, when we talk about structural discrepancies in a sentence, there can be many structural errors. Let me give you one more example. इस sentence को जरा पढ़ो. The rate of growing, okay, let me cut it out. The rate of growing is affected by slow GDP. Okay. The rate of growing is affected by slow GDP. Does this sentence have a problem? The rate of growing is affected by slow GDP. Let's say this is a situation. What is the problem? The problem is with the word growing. The rate of growing does not make any sense. We should have gone with the rate of growth. The rate of growth is affected by slow GDP. So growing is wrong word, growth should have been the word. So over here, we should have gone with boring and not bore. That was the logic behind. I hope you people have understood. Kajal, yes, absolutely right. The answer is growth. And this is what the problems are going to be like. And when we talk about particularly word-based problem, okay, the word form problem. So question 1 had a different taste. Question 2 has an entirely different taste. So question 2 we are done and dusted with. Can we move to the next challenge? Let's play one more game. Okay. Let us look at this question. The question says, the following sentence is underlined and marked as section A, B, C and D और last में E भी है. Okay. Show which section contains an error. Which section do you think has an error? The question is, despite the bad weather we have had in the past days, there are no doubt that the tournament will go on. 15 seconds and then we'll start the discussion. Okay. Nikita, Barron's 800 is right there in our Telegram group there. Nikita ma'am has shared it already. Please join our Telegram group if you haven't, and you will get Barron's 800 there itself. We have already shared it. Just in case you haven't found it, please join the Telegram group and I will send you the link there. Alright? Okay. C. Alright. Most of you have marked C. B. Alright. Good. What is the question? First of all, what do we check? We check tense. Despite the bad weather we have had. Now, have had is an example of the present perfect tense. Okay, if you write had, this is an example of the past perfect tense. Okay, so as far as the tense is concerned, there is no problem with the tense. It's fine. Have had in the past days. There are no doubt. Now, please stay with this part. There are no doubt that the tournament will go on. The answer should have been, there is no doubt that the tournament will go on. Either you say there are no doubts or you say there is no doubt. So there are no doubt, we are using a plural verb and the noun is singular. So there is a clear-cut anomaly over here. Right? Irregularity hai. Aapne are bola, that is plural verb, and then you're using a singular noun doubt. There is no match at all. So that is why C has a problem. But mind you, my dear, have had is absolutely fine. There is no problem with the verb structure in part B. I hope that answers the question. There is no doubt, Nikita. Yes, that should have been the answer. Alright. So that was question number 3 for us. Up, look at the irony of it. अगर तुमने C को मार्क किया होता based on have had का error, even then it would have been a right answer. तुम्हारा explanation गलत था, but you chose or marked the right option, right? So even this can happen in a competitive exam. Okay, as long as you mark the right option, you are on song. Okay, so this question was quite easily done. QED, can we move on to the next question? Challenge लेने को तैयार हैं? Now let's do it faster. All right, look at this question, guys. I will take up the question exactly 15 seconds from now. Siddhant have had was in the previous question. That was absolutely fine, as I had already explained. The error was in the latter part. I think you have followed it. Okay, so A, Siddhant says A, Gaurav says A. All right. All right. Many employees. A. Okay, fine. Now, this is one crucial concept that you must keep in mind, all of you. एक concept आज मैं आपको बताता हूँ, and I hope you will enjoy this concept. The problem, first of all, let me show you the answer. The answer is part B. B has a problem. A is just fine. Now, let me explain the things to you. You will ask me questions in some time. I will allow you to ask you questions, because without questions, it does not make any sense. The explanation goes for a toss. Always remember, in the concept that is subject-verb agreement, there are many expressions. And one expression is many a or an, or a number of. Many a or an, or a number of. Let me give you an example. Now, when you use many a or an, with this, please use a singular noun. And with a singular noun, please use a singular verb. But the impact of this expression is always plural. Impact is plural, but the usage is singular. For example, many a student is absent today. Many a student is absent today. Why? Now the impact is there are many students who are absent today. But what are you using? You are using many a or an. And this is the formula. With many a or an, use a singular noun and a singular verb. But if you change it like this, a number of students, now you say, are absent today. All right. A number of students are absent today, because you're using students. It's plural. But the moment you use this structure, many a or an, it is always singular. Remember, it is always singular. Okay, this is the first thing that you must keep in mind. Now let's talk about this one. Many an employee of this company. Many an employee. Many an is singular. Is supposed to be transferred. Not supposed to being transferred. Jagdish is supposed to be transferred to some other company. Why supposed to be transferred? Because it is a passive voice. They will be transferred by the administration or by the management. That's why supposed to be transferred. Over here, being will not make any sense, my dear. Okay. But the concept was how to use many a or an. Many a or an. This was the concept on subject-verb agreement. Have you people followed? Have you people followed? This was the concept. Many a or an. That is why in place of are, we should have used is. Okay. This should have been the right answer. So B is your answer option. Can we move on to the next question? Right. Question number 5. All right. Tricky, Priyanka? Yes, it was tricky, but if you know the rules, nothing is tricky. You must know the mantra. Okay. You must know the mantra. Many a or an. Remember that part. And please revise your subject-verb agreement thoroughly, all of you. Subject-verb agreement. Okay. It's a must revise concept for all of you. Okay. Question number 5. This is the next challenge, guys. Let's enjoy the question. Let's enjoy the question. 15 seconds and then we'll discuss. Komal, let me answer this question in a while. Other is plural. I'll get back to it, Komal. Sheetal has keyed in option C. All right. Thank you, Sheetal. What about the others? Akriti A. Require should be used. That's what Sheetal says. All right. So most of you have read the question, understood the question, and you have keyed in your option. Let us look at the question. The question says, as most sports company can attest, can confirm, okay, playing sports such as tennis and basketball, okay, this has been repeated, require not only mental ability but also physical strength. Require not only mental ability but also physical strength. Over here, if we just break the sentence into fragments, right? Let us talk about playing. Is this the subject? Plus require. Require is the verb. Playing is a singular subject. Do we have an agreement? Playing, if playing is a singular subject, then we need a singular verb. Requires. Playing requires. So playing requires and not require. That is why C has an error, because you need an S over here to make the verb singular. So now read the sentence. Playing sports such as tennis and basketball requires not only mental ability but also physical strength. We can remove this. This should have been the answer. Okay. So playing was the subject. So identifying the subject is very important. Right. Now what happens, you see, in a sentence there can be a very big gap between the main subject and the main verb. So whenever you see there is a gap between the main subject and the main verb, you will come across this kind of error. Error of proximity. Okay? Error of proximity. For example, if I write number of students writing OMETs. Now OMET stands for Other Management Entrance Test, non-CAT exams, SNAP and TISNET and all. So number of students writing OMETs from various towns and cities are growing every year. Now you have to ask yourself a question. Growing, what is growing? Towns and cities or number? What are we talking about? We are talking about number. Number is singular. That's why in place of are, I should have said is. The verb should have been used. The verb that should have been used was is. Number of students writing OMET from various towns and cities is growing every year, not are growing every year. Okay? All right. So this was the question number 5 for us. Let's move on to the next question, guys. All right. I'm so sorry. I think you have seen the answer, but we need the concept over here. I hope you're enjoying the session. If at all, please do press the like button and share it with your friends. All right. Question number 6 says, a menacing picture of one of the progenitors of the founder company hanged on the wall. Nitish, can and be used more than one time in a sentence? Can be, depending on the requirement of the sentence, Nitish. I'm so sorry, I missed your question. Let me take you back to the previous question, if at all. Okay. Question number 6. A menacing picture of one of the progenitors of the founder company hanged on the wall. All right. Four, three. All right. Now let's get back to the question. A menacing picture of one of the progenitors. Progenitors, ancestors. The forefather. Okay. Ancestor or forefather. Okay. The moment you say progeny, it means the children or the offspring, right? Or the successors. A menacing picture. Why? Now the sentence starts with a negative shade, a threatening, a dangerous picture of one of the progenitors of the founder company hanged on the wall. One of the progenitors, founders, hanged, no error. Now when you say hang, right? You hang a person, you hang somebody, okay? But when you say hung, okay? Something could be seen hung on the wall. Something could be seen hung on the wall. So hang is used, in a sense when you're hanging a person, right? But hung, it describes something. What happened? Something was hung on the wall. So the word should have been hung, like hang, hung. The third form is also hung or it can be hanged. Okay. But the better version should be hung and not hanged, because you're talking about a picture. Pictures cannot be hanged, they can be hung. Okay. We could see the picture hung on the wall, not hanged on the wall. That is the most appropriate way of, describing it. Now, Nitish, for your question, I think this was the question that you were asking me, Nitish, if I'm not wrong. As most sports company can attest, playing sports such as tennis and basketball requires not only mental health but also physical strength. And your question was B form. Your question was B form, right? If you could just ask me the question again so that I can explain the concept. I'll try to explain the concept to you. All right? Okay. So hanged is not the word. It should have been hung. All right? That is why 4 has a problem. So this was also a bit tricky, right? But it was pretty doable. So the word forms and the verb forms, they become important. All right? Question number 7, guys. Should it be founding company of the founder company? No, somebody. Founding company is also, it's okay, but over here you're talking about, right? The founder, the person that we are talking about in this case. The menacing picture of one of the progenitors of the founder company hanged off the wall. Okay. Founding company is also applicable, but over here founder is not wrong either. Moving on to question number 7, guys. The following sentence is underlined as and marked as section A, B, C and D. Show which section contains an error. Same kind of question. Had he come to the office that day and see the boss, he would have come to know about his promotion. अगर वो ऑफिस आया होता और अपने बॉस से मिला होता, उसको अपने प्रमोशन की खबर मिल गई होती. That is what it says. Had he come to office that day and see the boss, he would have come to know about his promotion. See, okay. All right. Most of you have answered and keyed in option C. That's pretty amazing. Now that you know, and you people are absolutely right, the answer is C. Now that you know that option C and this part has a problem, do you think the right option should be saw? Can we replace C by saw? Is that what you are suggesting? Let us talk. Shreyans says seen. Some of you suggested saw, some of you are suggesting seen. So we have a situation over here. What should be the right option? Now please look how the sentence begins. The sentence begins with had. Had he come? Now what is come? Is it the first form of the verb? Is it the second form of the verb? Or is it the third form of the verb? What do you suggest? It is the third form of the verb. Had he come? And now this conjunction is very important. And will join two similar structure. Once again, what does and do? It joins similar structure. Okay, it joins similar structures. So had he come and if you have a V3 before and, you might as well have another V3 after and. So it should have been seen because had is there. Had plus V3 and had plus V3. Had he come and seen the boss should have been the right structure. So over here we need, seen. Had he come and seen the boss. Okay, that is the technique. Now Shubhankar, okay, fine, all right, thank you. So you got it. So this was the concept for question number 7. Can we move on to the next question quickly? See, these are some of the structures which are so very important for you to remember. As you might have seen, the questions are pretty straightforward. They are not going to be, uphill or tough at all. You just have to read the question properly, have your basics right, put the best foot forward and go for the kill. But basics are quintessential. We must know the basics. Why not had seen, sir? Yes, we have used had. Rajat. And 2 times is the sentence correct. Okay, there are far too many questions being asked over here. Let me see if I can take up your questions one by one. Nitesh, if you just give me an example of the sentence that you want to ask me, let me take up that sentence and explain the things to you. Okay, if you have any doubt in a sentence, can you please be kind enough and text it so that I can take it up? All right, I would love to answer your doubts. All right, as far as this question is concerned, do we have an error? B, all right. Most of you have marked B, all right. Let us see what the answer is, guys. In spite of the massive rescue operation, the ship with all her cargo drowned in the shark-infested sea. Okay? Ship, an object, right? Or a thing can never drown, it can sink. Or we can use sank. We are using a wrong word over here. Drown can be used for people, people who drown in the river or pond or sea. Okay, and that causes suffocation and that might result in death also. Okay, so drown can be used for human beings, but sink and sank can be used for objects and things, and that is why B has a problem. Right? Absolutely right, Markan. We're talking about a vessel, and vessels can sink. They don't drown. That was the problem with question number 8. Okay. Even this is quite easily done, guys. Moving on to the next question quickly. Okay. Now, please look at this question and stay with this question for some time. It says in the following question, there are sentences that form a paragraph. Identify the sentence or sentences or parts of sentence or sentences that is correct or are correct in terms of grammar and usage, and then choose the most appropriate option. So what are you supposed to choose? You're supposed to choose the option that gives you a sentence which is grammatically correct and not incorrect. All right? Stay with this question for 15 seconds and then we will take it up. Gaurav is asking me, sir, is it 4? Thank you for your suggestion, Gaurav. Let me see if it is 4 or not. Let's hold our horses and wait for the right time and moment. But thank you anyways for participating, Gaurav. What about the others? 3. Thank you, Harsh. Thank you. Harsh is saying it is 3. देखते हैं 3 है कि नहीं. One, I think it's 1. Thank you. Kajal says 4. Rohit says 1. Okay. Let us start the discussion, guys. Okay. अब इस क्वेश्चन में there are number of things जो तुम्हें देखने की जरूरत है. Okay. Number 1, subject verb agreement है कि नहीं. Number 2, the right comparison. Number 3, are the sentences parallel? And number 4, the tense. Okay. So such questions may ask you concepts, across multiple units and chapters, and multiple concepts can be tested. All right. But how does the question begin? How does it begin? Often cited studies have shown that the difference in IQ among identical twins raised apart is only slightly less than twins raised together, whereas the correlation between the intelligence scores of a parent who adopts a child and those of that parent are slim. All right. Gaurav says B cannot be correct. because it is redundant. What makes B redundant? Let us see, right? You're talking about twins, means two. How can we use among for two? Don't you think we should use between? Okay, so this among does not fit the bill. Yes. Now comes the second concept. The second concept is oft-cited studies have shown that the difference in IQ we are talking about, okay, between, that's absolutely right, Dhara, it should be between. Now, what are we comparing? Difference in IQ between identical twins raised apart is only slightly less than twins raised together. What are we comparing? The difference in IQ between identical twins raised apart and twins raised together. So, then that of twins raised apart, over here that would mean the IQ. Okay, so there is a parallel structure problem. We are comparing wrong objects. Difference in IQ with twins does not make any sense. So difference in IQ between identical twins raised apart is only slightly less than that of, over here, that refers to IQ. Does that make sense to you? Whereas the correlation between the intelligence scores of a parent who adopts a child, adopts being used for parent is singular, so adopts is fine, and those of that parent are slim. Now look at this verb, are slim. Ask yourself a question. What is slim? It is the correlation. The correlation is slim. So correlation is singular. So the verb used must also be singular. It should be is. So even C is wrong. E is wrong, I'm sorry. So that takes you to option 2. A is right. D is right. B has a problem. C has a problem. And E has a problem. Okay. So B is wrong. C is wrong. E is wrong. Only A and D are right. That is why second one should have been the answer option. I hope you followed it. Okay, this was a tricky one. The others one, I don't think the previous questions were difficult at all. They were sitting ducks. But this question, since we are actually trying to test the parameters of grammar across multiple areas, so this may have been a bit of a problem for us. But then again, if we know the concepts, see, the basics are not going to change. We just have to look at the basics and apply them in the question, and your job is done. All right. So this was a nice question. I hope you've enjoyed it. Can we do another question? Challenge ke liye taiyar hai? Can we take up one more question on, the similar format? Are we ready? Let's look at this one. Okay. Please like the session, guys. If you really are enjoying it, please like the session. Okay. So what is the question? The question is, you are given a sentence, a part of which is underlined, that's cool. This is followed by 4 ways of phrasing the underlined part. Wonderful. Select the version that best rephrases the underlined part. Okay, 15 seconds and then we'll go for the kill. Alright, what is the answer? Most of you have said A, B, B. Alright, alright. So it's either A or B if I can stick my neck out and conclude. None of you are going with C and D, I believe. Okay, one of you. Gitika. Alright, you've gone with C. So sorry. Now, what is the concept? Concept क्या है पहले ये समझते हैं चलिए. Right? The concept is how to use not only but also. Okay. Now, not only and but also, what are they? कहते क्या है इसको? We call them conjunctions. Okay. And they are correlative conjunctions. They are called correlative conjunctions. Right? And what is the funda? Speciality क्या है? They come in fixed pairs. अब क्वेश्चन है तो क्या करें? They come in fixed pairs. तो क्या करें? Right? Now, in class 7 and 8 and 9, we learned in chemistry that, very abstruse and complex concept of balancing equations. Okay? To match the atomic number, the mass number, the valency, so on and so forth. That was so overwhelming at times. Similarly, in sentences dealing with correlatives, we have to balance the structure. तराजू के दोनों तरफ same weight होना चाहिए. All right. So rule says the structure that you have after not only, you must have the same structure after but also. All right. You must have the same structure after but also. Okay. First of all, let us see what the answer is, and then we'll talk about the explanation part. Let's look at the answer. Okay. Not only undermines one's ability to think critically, but also impairs one's... Okay. What is the question? According to some critics, watching television undermines means weakens one's ability not only to think critically but also impairs overall ability to perceive. Now please understand, why have I marked and circled these two parts? This is to think and to perceive. Alright, to perceive. Now what does it mean? To plus verb. An infinitive must be followed by an infinitive. That is the first thing. So, to think, to perceive. To think, to perceive. Alright. B says not only undermines one's ability of critical thinking but also impairs the... Okay. A says not only undermines one's ability to think critically but also impairs one's ability to perceive. B is not the answer. A is the answer. I have actually marked it wrong. So please let me correct myself over here. B is not the answer. A is the answer. Okay, because 2 plus verb must be followed by 2 plus verb. So over here we have 2 plus verb and 2 plus verb. That is number 1. Number 2, not only and but also. Let us talk about this concept. Not only but also. Now it is my mistake. B is not the answer. A should have been the answer. Alright. A, answer. Okay. Alright. If not only has a verb coming right after it, but also must have a verb coming right after it. So not only undermines, which is a verb, okay, but also impairs again, which is a verb. Alright. Over here, there is a slight problem with the structure. Alright. So that apostrophe shouldn't be there, right? Okay. This one? No, there is no problem with this apostrophe actually. right? One's ability, one is an indefinite pronoun, and when you put an apostrophe right after it, it means kisi ka, somebody's, someone's. So this apostrophe is fine, there is no problem with it. Okay, let us understand it with the help of an example. For example, if I say, to think and to perceive are both of the same type and relate to undermining. Yes, that is what I am saying. If you look at C, Gitika undermines not only one's ability to think but also. Now the problem in C is the usage of not only and but also. Let me explain this concept to you, Gitika. You will understand what actually I am trying to drive home. If I say Sanskrit is not only difficult to read but also to write. Sanskrit is not only difficult to read but also to write. Now, let's understand. This part has a problem. Look at the structure. The structure is not only plus difficult plus to read. The next part is but also difficult to लिखा ही नहीं, to write. Either I should say not only difficult to read but also difficult to write. But also difficult to write. But that makes the sentence a bit redundant. Repetition of difficult and difficult. So what is the other way out? What can we do? I can say Sanskrit is difficult not only to read but also to write. Now look at the syntax now. Not only plus 2 plus verb but also plus 2 plus verb. Now the sentence becomes parallel. But in C, what is happening? Not after not only you have one's ability to think, and right after but also you have a verb coming. Okay, so this anomaly must be addressed. Gitika, I hope you've understood, right? That was the option, right? Learning rules are difficult. Yes, they are difficult. I am not asking you to learn rules, my dear. I am just asking you to apply these rules when you practice. Nobody learns these rules. You read them once and then you try and apply them on questions, solving mocks and remembering the rules. How do you remember the rules? When you solve mocks, when you solve questions. That is where the problem lies. Okay, we don't solve enough mocks. The moment you start solving them, it will become easy for you. Okay, next one, the last question of the day. Okay, we can use not only before and after noun. That is okay, depending on the requirement of the sentence. This question tells you, in her presentation, the head of the Better Business Bureau emphasized that companies should think of cost of conventions and other similar gatherings as not as expense but as an investment in networking that will pay dividends. Let's stick with the question. All right. In her presentation, the head of the Better Business Bureau emphasized that companies should think of cost conventions and other similar gatherings as not an expense but as an investment in networking that will pay dividends. A says as not expense but, B says not an expense rather, C says not as an expense but as, and D says not in terms of expense but. What is the answer? Shubhankar has marked C, thank you. Priyanka has also marked C, thank you. All right, the others? I apologize if I am missing your doubts because they are coming to me after 5 or 6 seconds. I can see your doubts. So if I've missed out any of your questions, apologies from my side. I'll try to take them up in my next session whenever we have it. Okay. Over here, the concept is not as X but as Y. Again, we are talking about a structure. Not as X but as Y. So if we apply this, this will take us to option C, not as an expense but as an investment. Not as an expense but as an investment. We don't use not as expense, rather as not expense but, wrong structure, not in terms of expense but. Now even if you use in terms of, then this would require to use in terms of after but, not in terms of expense but in terms of investment. That would have made the sentence correct, but we don't have that structure. So the structure is not as expense but as investment. That is why C should have been the answer. I hope you have followed question number 11 also. Right? So these were some of the questions which I wanted to take up as far as your sentence correction questions are concerned. I hope you have followed the concepts. I would request you to take up Brennan Martin, pick up that book and try to go through all the concepts of grammar, especially the subject verb agreement and the tense concept. All right? You will see the structure of parallelism present in different, MBA books. Please go through the concepts of parallel structures also. All right. So that brings us to the end of today's session. Just to remind you, last lap to CMAT is in progress. You can join us 7 o'clock in the evening sharp, and we have started the session from 14th of March. Today also we have a session coming up at 7 o'clock. Don't miss it. Do subscribe and press the bell icon, guys, and get all the notifications for our videos. All right. Enroll with us for the PI and WAT program being taken up by Srinivas sir and Gautam sir. For any queries, please call on the given number and write into us. Okay. Batch number 5 has been rolled out for CAT 22. If you are just wondering and toying with the idea of writing CAT 22, or if your friends are looking for a good opportunity, please ask them to take a demo with us, talk to our counselors, and do join the CAT 22 program. Like the session, please. Comment on the session if you have liked it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to BYJU'S Exam Prep. Thank you so much everyone, and please don't forget to share it with your friends. Tomorrow again I'm going to be live with you, and this time I'm going to bring to you some questions on idioms and phrases. We will do some questions on idioms and phrases tomorrow exactly at 1 o'clock. So let's meet once again tomorrow at 1. So on this note, also please follow us on Insta, YouTube. हम लोग मिलते रहते हैं YouTube में, Facebook में follow करो और दोस्तों को बताइए. Join our Telegram group. And yes, one of you asked me, Baron का कहाँ मिलेगा? Word list. It is there on our Telegram group. Please join it and avail the benefit. And download BYJU'S Exam Prep on Google Play. With that note, this is Pradip sir signing off. Goodbye to you. All the best. See you on the other side of the story. Stay happy. Bye-bye.